Welcome to R.S.V.P. Listen to the show at your own risk. We will be discussing all taboo subjects like religion, sex, violence, and even politics. You should be ready for controversy, disagreements, face-offs, and maybe some downright rumbles. Well, sit tight and get ready for this week's episode. And by the way, if you're squeamish about obscenities, don't listen to our fucking show! Good morning, Bernadette. How are you doing?
I'm great. I actually could hear our intro.
You heard, all right. Well,
Yeah, I did.
everybody that will possibly be listening, my name is Diane Daniels, and I am coming live to you from just outside of Tampa, Florida, in the United States. And this is my beautiful co-host, Bernadette Desmond. And Bernadette, tell them where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm from down under. Australia, mate. So yeah, I live in a little place called Mount Burrell. So if you go and try and find that, probably nobody will ever find that bloody thing anywhere. But northern New South Wales, in Queensland, on the border between Queensland and New South Wales. So kind of like, I've got a foot in both camps, one in Queensland, one in New South Wales. Look me up if anybody knows. That's Mount Burrell.
And I looked it up, and you know what? New South Wales is huge, and it's considered a state, right?
Yeah.
It's huge. It's almost like Florida, Georgia, and friggin' South Carolina all in one.
Is it?
It seems like it. How long would it take to get from one end to the other?
Of New South Wales?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Probably
a couple of hours, right?
Well, couple of hours? Bullshit. No, it takes probably 9 hours to drive.
There you go. It's huge. It's huge.
To Sydney. That's just to Sydney. That's not from one side to the other.
Oh.
Or one end to the other.
It's huge.
Yeah.
As Donald would say, it's huge.
Oh, Donnie. God bless him. Hey?
Everybody out there, this is the R.S.V.P. show. And on this show, we talk about all taboo subjects.
Yep.
Specifically, religion, sex, violence, politics. And then we have a wild card where we can talk about whatever the hell we frickin' want. Right, Bernie?
Yep. Whatever it is
that comes our
way. Yeah, anything that's taboo, because I don't know about anyone else, but I'm so absolutely friggin' sick and tired of hearing all this bullshit out on the news where everybody has been constricted and restrained about what they say and what they can't say. Having said that, our show is not about vilifying anybody. It's about people being able to have their opinions being heard. And also too about the acceptance that we've all got different opinions about different things. One doesn't mean that it's right or wrong or true or false. It's just that, you might have a different opinion about a subject to what I do, and that's all perfectly okay.
It is. It's just like what you call toilet paper and what I call toilet paper. And what do you call toilet paper, Bernie?
Dunny roll.
Yeah. What the hell is a dunny roll? It sounds like a gummy bear.
Trust me, it's nowhere near a bloody gummy bear.
So for anybody, if we need to get a translator on our show, let me know. Between the New York accent and the Australian accent, nobody might not even understand what we're saying, Bern.
Yeah, it's the Australian slang too. So because when we're in Australia, we don't just talk English. We talk Australian, mate.
Yes. Love. Australian.
Yes, love. That love. I said love. I said pet.
You always say love.
I know. So let's talk about today. What are we talking about? Politics, right?
We're talking about politics, and we got to talk about the goddamn coronavirus because that's all there is to talk about every single second of the day.
I tell you what, I'm nearly coronavirused out.
Are you in, what are we calling it? Home sheltering, quarantine yourself. Are you in that? In
absolutely.
Australia?
Like, yeah, because my hairdressing salon, right, is in Queensland. I live in New South Wales. So to give you just some perspective on that, normally if I wanted to drive from New South Wales to Queensland, so they're two different states, I live on one side of the border, my salon's on the other side of the border. So like, to drive there probably take about an hour normally. Right. So now, because Queensland have shut their borders to everybody else, if I wanted to go into my salon, not that I'm doing much that lately because it's shut, right? I have to get a special pass that allows me to drive from New South Wales to Queensland. I have to go through 3 bloody checkpoints just to even get in there.
Right. It sounds like friggin' East and West Germany back in the friggin' 60s.
It is.
Wow. But you have to have a checkpoint to get into the next state.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And if you don't have a legitimate, so it's got to be essential travel, right? So you can't just drive from New South Wales to Queensland just because you want to go to the beach in on the Gold Coast. You want to go to Surfers Paradise Beach. Anyway, they shut that. But it just amazes me though, some of the decisions that are being made just don't make any fucking sense. Like, I mean, they shut the beaches, like the major beaches on the Gold Coast, right? So Surfers Paradise, Main Beach, and the Spit. So they're 3 major beaches, right, that people go to over the Easter weekend. They shut them down. But Burleigh Heads Beach, which is a 10-minute drive from Surfers Paradise Beach, which is like a gorgeous local beach where every man and his dog goes to. Oh, look at you. Oh, there's Toowoomba.
Wow. Is that like fucking Australia right there somewhere?
Yeah. See Toowoomba up there.
Cool. Nice work, John.
That's actually where
our
I
producer,
come
John.
from.
Nice work.
Nice work. Anyway, right, so they closed these 3 beaches and then they leave Burleigh Beach open. So what happened? Every man and his dog, there's some Aussie slang for you, every man and his dog goes to Burleigh Beach with no social distancing over the weekend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what's happened with you guys over there. I mean, I read that like Donnie has left it all up to the governors now, right? This is after a week ago saying that the United States president is the only person
that's what he's doing. So, in the beginning he was kind of pulling the King Richard rule, right? That he was going to tell everybody when they could open. And then Cuomo in New York, who's the governor in New York, pretty much told him to shove it. And he told him he'll take him to the Supreme Court if he has to. So all of a sudden they must have had a talk with him. And then he said, well, we're going to have the governors of each state will decide when they can open, but they do have criteria now. So they have these 3 phases that the medical directors and the doctors have put together. Yeah. And in order for it to state to even start opening in the first phase, they have to show that the positive cases of the coronavirus have gone down on a daily basis for 14 days in a row. So that's the first rule of the gateway. So if they can show that the cases are going down for 14 days in a row, they could enter phase 1. I feel like it's like a game show, it's like phase 1. And in phase 1, they can start opening up some restaurants to schools and there's other businesses, but you have to still practice social distancing and you can't be around a gathering with 10 people or more. And then, you still should be wearing your masks and crap in public. And that's not mandatory, but they're highly suggestive, begging you to, So that's phase 1. And then if you could have cases decreasing 28 days in a row, then you could go to phase 2. And in phase 2, they'll open up the bars. Fuck the bars. I got mine right here. I don't need the bar. I got my wine right here. Yes. Show us your
I'm
mimosa. All right. I don't know about you, but alcohol has been up 75% in the United States. What, you think it's pretty much honestly, the same in Australia?
Yeah, I don't disbelieve that, honestly. And I think this is one of the things, like, over here, they're talking about the second wave of the pandemic, which has actually got nothing to do. Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with the pandemic. They're actually talking about alcohol and drug and gambling addictions going through the roof because mental health is going to be so bad because everybody has been socially isolating themselves and therefore they've been self-medicating.
Listen, I've been fucked up before the pandemic, okay? I don't need the pandemic to say I'm fucked up. Okay? Am I drinking a lot more? Hell yes. But I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't have anything to drink yesterday. I just didn't feel like it. First day out of a week, I think.
See? Look at you go. Proud of you. Like congratulations.
Today, I'm going to get drunk. After the show, I'll be drunk.
Yeah, well, you can because it's
already starting at 6 o'clock in the morning for you, right?
Yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I'm having a mimosa. That's right, called mimosa. I've been calling them Bellinis. That's with the peach juice, actually. I prefer them. I need to get some of that.
Wait, what are you calling it?
No, this is a mimosa, but a Bellini is actually peach juice.
Oh,
so it's peach juice
You got
and
peach
champagne
juice instead of orange. Yeah. All right, that's good.
Yeah, I need to get me some of that. So yeah, I mean, but talking about, you know how you're saying about your they're opening up the gateway.
Yeah.
God bless Donnie. So you can still only have 10 people together as a gathering?
Okay, still only
in
have
phase one. Yeah, I've lost you. So you can only have 10 people in a gathering. So if you have 10 people in a gathering, and in phase one, I heard that he wants to open restaurants. So does that mean you can only have 10 people in your restaurant?
There he goes. Look at this. We got it. There it is. All right. Schools can open up.
Organized.
All right.
Anything currently closed.
Senior, where I live in the senior community, closed. You cannot go visit people in the hospital. You cannot go visit people in any kind of assisted living. Large venues like, your football stadiums and baseball stadiums have to be strict protocol on the social distancing. A gym can open now, but they have to have the strict social distancing. So that's the 6 feet apart. You have to have your gloves and your masks. And in a restaurant, the maximum is 10 people. Yep, that's phase one. But at least it's a way to get the stores, the restaurant work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's relevant. And I mean, I think obviously it's a start. I guess we all have to come to terms with the fact that we're just going to have to live with this virus, right? Until we get a vaccine and we can get it stamped out.
Well, we don't even know if we're going to get a vaccine. Okay, I think this is a myth for the people. They don't understand. We might never get a vaccine. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't get a vaccine for SARS. They don't have a vaccine for AIDS. Okay, there's a lot of the viruses they don't have a vaccine for. So we may never get one. But they keep saying we're working on a vaccine. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a couple of highlights on this right now. And there's many, many countries working on vaccines. Did you know that over there where you are, we have, do you know this company? It's called CSIRO. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, CSIRO.
All right. Well, they're beginning testing right now for a potential vaccine. They said it'll take about 3 months. And they've turned it over to the National Science Agency in Australia. Right. Yep. So they're working on it. Over here, we already have a possible vaccine. It's called mRNA-1273. And they sent that to the National Institute for the Allergy and Infectious Disease for a phase 1 study where they're testing it on humans. That's where our doctor that talking. You see him? No? Nice guy. I actually like Dr. Fauci. I think he's from New York or New Jersey. Nice guy. Very intelligent, very good man, putting up with a lot going on right now. But so that's going into phase 1. And a lot of places around the world are rushing to get a possible vaccine for this. But we have to be understanding that there may never be one.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's true too. I don't know. I think the longer that we're in it, I think people are coming to terms with that more. I think that people are just confused about I know we're talking about the health implications, which are just absolutely massive, but it's still not the biggest health implication we've ever had in history. I mean, Spanish flu wiped out 200 million plus people. I know it was back in the 1300s, right? But the financial impact, I think this is the biggest difference, because in our lifetime, we've never seen anything like this. We've never seen global economies that have been hit the way they have all simultaneously. And I think that's what people are more scared about. They're more scared about, what are you guys? I think you guys have hit like 22 million unemployed over there. That's nearly the population of Australia. So when you
the
put
entire
that in perspective,
country,
yeah, it's nearly
Jeez.
the entire country, the population of Australia. I mean, you think about that. Like, that blows your mind, right?
That does, yeah.
So
40 million.
Yeah, 22. You've got 22 million people unemployed there. And we've got these phases where, like, okay, you can reopen restaurants, which is fabulous, but you can have 10 people in them, right? But in that perspective, so you still got 22 million people on unemployment benefits. So who's going to have the money to go out to the restaurants anyway? And I think
Listen
this
to
is
me,
what
nobody.
people are talking. Yeah, and this is what people are talking about in Australia on the real ground. Like, the governments make all these grand suggestions, and they have over here in Australia, where they're pledging this and they're pledging that. And, good on them. I think Australia's done a pretty good job. I think Donnie's doing a pretty good job as well. And everyone's doing the best they can. But the reality of the situation is my perspective. I've got a hairdressing salon that has been shut for 3 weeks. I now have 0 staff. But more importantly, I went into the shopping centre, crossed the border, went through my 3 checkpoints on Saturday to go and get something from the salon to bring it back home. And there is nobody around. Like, Surfers Paradise is the heart of tourism. Like, we survive on tourists. So when we're reopening things and they're talking about, okay, so if Queensland don't reopen their borders, that means we have no interstate tourists. Australia certainly, and I'm sure other countries around the world too, will certainly not open their borders internationally for mass visitors. Like, we're not going to be going on holidays. I'm not going to be coming to the States and seeing you where I first met you. Like, we're not doing that in any time soon.
No.
So that means, where's this money going to come from?
Well, it's not. Okay, so that's the problem. So I don't know about your government. Is your government offering money to the people that lost their jobs? Are they offering money?
Yeah. I mean, we got 2 types. We've got job seeker and job keeper. Like, so job seeker is people that are seeking employment. So people that have already previously been on unemployment benefits, and people that are now unemployed. Job keeper is a subsidy to, say, someone like me who have had staff and I've stood them down. So I can apply as a job keeper business to keep these people where they get paid $750 a week, right? But the thing about that, right, is that none of this money has even come through yet. Alrighty, so the JobKeeper stuff is not even coming through until the middle of May. So that means people like me have had no income for like 8 weeks by then, as have my staff for 8 weeks by then.
Yeah. No, I know. And over here, so that's not like an unemployment insurance, right? It's like an insurance for unemployment. Okay, so we have that also here. And on top of it, the federal government, Donnie, the leader of the federal government, they're offering what they're calling stimulus money. Okay. And if you make less than $75,000 as a single person, or 150 as a married couple, then you're going to get $1,200.
Yeah.
Okay. Extra.
What, one payment?
That's not even have anything to do with the unemployment insurance. Okay. So that's extra. And they just started doing that this weekend. So it just started, and over 20 million people have gotten their check so far. Not us, not yet. Yeah. But it's supposed to, coming. And everybody that's on Social Security here, which is pretty much the people that are 62 and older, or people that are disabled, that are younger, that can't work, are on Social Security here. So that includes all of them, plus anybody in a freaking country, okay, who makes less than $75,000, which I think is bullshit if you want to know the truth. No, why? I don't want the money. Why are you giving it to people that, like, I'm still working and it's hard for me, but I'm still working and doing what I can, even though I'm not a W-2 person. Okay. I'm a commissionable person in sales,
Yeah.
but I can still work. I'm healthy and I'm still working and I'm trying my damnedest. Why the hell are we giving it to people like me and other people that already are getting Social Security? They've been living on that already. Why are we giving them that money too?
The same thing over here, like just like in our situation, right? So Sean doesn't have any work. So for the first time in his life, he's had to go on unemployment benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And obviously, when this all started, we had like lineups outside of these offices. Honestly, you've never seen anything like it in our lifetime anyway. It was like we were in the Great Depression.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got
worse,
so many
actually.
people
I think it's
that
worse.
Yeah. Well, you've got so many people like Sean, right, who's 53, have worked all of his life, never ever has been like on unemployment benefits before in his life, lined up there, right? And because I have got like, a wage, then what he's entitled to was like $260 a week.
Oh my God.
So that's what $260 a week. But
wow.
And then the government also did like a stimulus package where they offered $750. Like first up, it was the first wave of stimulus package. And it was to everybody who is already on Centrelink over here. That's what it's called. So anybody who has, like what you were saying, like they've already on like, Social Security benefits. So that's pensioners, long-term unemployed, people on disabilities, etc. And yet Sean's not entitled to that. So Sean can't get the $750. And then they raised the threshold of like what you could earn. So now Sean can be part of the job seeker where now you get $550 a week for unemployment benefits, right? So that means that everybody who was previously on unemployment benefits, whether you're a pensioner or whether you're disabled or whether you're long-term unemployed, your benefits automatically now go up to $550 a week, not because you lost your job or you lost your business, just because you're actually part of the unemployment scheme.
Right.
But people like Sean can't get the $750. And not only that, the $550 doesn't even kick in until I think it's the 27th of April.
Yeah, that's something. Wow.
Right. So, but again, the same sort of thing, like, I know they're talking about stimulus packages, so let's try and keep the economy moving. But I guarantee you, people that are on long-term unemployment benefits or, already their circumstances haven't changed. They didn't lose jobs. They didn't lose businesses. Nothing changed for them, except for that you can't go to the supermarket and you've got to social isolate. But people that are in businesses and people that have lost jobs, like my staff, for instance, a lot of things changed for them because they went from having an income and being able to pay mortgages and rent and provide for families and food and everything to overnight having absolutely nothing come in.
And those are the people that I believe should have gotten the stimulus payments double.
Yeah,
not
I
just
agree.
every citizen of America.
Yeah.
Like I plan on taking that stimulus check that I'm getting. And I've been trying to order takeout food once a week to help the local restaurants here where I live. And I plan on giving huge tips to those people that come. And then when we can go to restaurants, same thing, give huge tips to those people that are working there. So it will help them. Because it's not that I don't want it, that I don't need it at all, but I'm making some of an income, something. So why should I be given that kind of money? And there's millions of people in America that are in the same position.
Yeah.
I just think they didn't really think it out good. They did not think that out good.
No, you know what? And I think like hindsight's a great thing too. Like, we all look back now. When this all just happened, honestly, it kind of blew up overnight. I don't know whether it did over there in America, but that's certainly what it was like here in Australia. I mean, I remember like being in the salon and working in the salon like in January of this year, and you heard all about this coronavirus and stuff like that. But we all just kind of thought it was going to be contained and stay in China.
Right.
Nobody really talked about it being a virus that was going to spread around the world, and certainly not within like almost go from 0 to 100 Ks in 2.5 seconds and just completely overwhelm all of these economies. So
Right.
I think it was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction that the governments have had to that, and I understand that too. And I think that's why too it wasn't planned and it wasn't thought out. And I think they all thought it was going to be over in a bloody short amount of time.
Yeah.
Or if
That's
they
what
didn't think that it was going to be over, they kind of acted like it was. That was kind of the message that they gave to us over here was, this is going to be, a gradual kind of lockdown thing that's going to happen for, maybe a month or whatever it is. And then sort of like, things would be relatively normal. And I mean, look how that turned out for us. What a load of bullshit.
A lot of bullshit.
It didn't turn out like that at all.
No. But listen, we're at the half hour mark, and I want to give the stat of the show because it's so cool. I can't wait for you to hear it. It's so cool. Okay. All right. The oldest person that contracted the COVID-19 virus, and there is actually several of them, but this one takes the cake. She's a 104-year-old Italian grandmother.
Oh, my God.
And her name is Ada Zanuso. She not only recovered from the COVID-19 virus, she survived the fucking Spanish flu in 1918.
Oh, my God.
Fucking Ada had the Spanish flu in 1918 and recovered from that behemoth monstrosity. And then not only now has to live towards the end of her life and gets the goddamn COVID-19 and she survives that. You go, freaking Ada.
Oh, my God. Here's cheers to Ada.
Up.
Hey, God bless her.
Is that crazy? That's amazing.
That's amazing. How interesting would it be to talk to her?
Oh, I want to talk to her so bad. I just so bad want to talk to her.
Her experiences about, like, what she experienced in the Spanish flu as compared to what she's experiencing now.
Exactly. The comparison has to be.
How amazing would that be to talk to her?
Oh, so you were talking about this before. So it infected almost 1/3 of the world's population. 1/3. And close to 50 million people died from it. 50 million. Now, let's talk about where we are right now with COVID-19.
Yeah.
We've got 2,204,000 people worldwide case-wise, that have it, with 149,378 deaths. All right, worldwide. That's worldwide. Okay.
Yeah.
Nowhere's close to the Spanish flu. Nowhere near it.
No.
All right.
I know.
I'm going to break it down between my country and yours. The United States has 679,000 cases. More than that, but I don't have to give the exact number. And over 34,000 deaths.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. New York City, New York, which is the 5 boroughs of New York, right? So that's from my hometown, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. All 5 boroughs. 123,146 cases.
Oh, my God.
With over 11,000, close to 500, 11,000, almost 500 deaths in that one epizone. Crazy?
Just blows your mind, doesn't it? Oh.
Now, hold on. I'm getting to me and you now. Florida, where I am, the whole state has 24,119 cases.
Jesus.
686 deaths.
Yeah.
Where I live, my county, We have 917 cases
Yeah.
and 18 deaths. And in
Yeah.
my little neighborhood, my zip code, we have 10 people that have had tested positive. 10.
Do you know anybody that's got it or had it?
No, I don't. Not yet.
Yeah,
Nope. And
me
I hope
either.
I never know 'em, but
Mm.
I know a lot of here where I live. Where you live, Missy, the whole country of Australia is 6,522 cases. You have less cases than almost 40 of the states.
Yeah.
Okay. You have only 6,522 cases. Only 66 people died. God bless them and may they rest in peace. Everyone
Yeah.
that died from this. But where you live in New South Wales, 2,926. You have almost half the cases where you live. You're
We sure
you're
do.
in the epizone of Australia.
Yep, we sure do. I love being a winner.
Yeah. Well, you're the winner, all right. And 26 people died in your state.
Yeah.
Is that amazing or what?
It's
Tell me what
amazing.
is
I mean,
now maybe is it the population because you told me you only have 40 million people in the whole entire country of
no,
Australia?
not 40 million. We've got about bloody, I don't know, 20, 28 million, not even 40 million in the whole country.
In the whole country?
Yeah, we only got around about 28, 30 million. There's no way we've got 40 million people.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
because Australia is a big country, right?
Yeah.
With a small population, considering the country size. And most people in Australia live like around the coastline. So we've got this massive expanse in the centre of Australia where, you know, virtually nobody wants to live there because it's hot as freaking hell. You know, and then you got Tassie, like down the bottom. See, Tasmania, for instance, like they've had this huge outbreak. When I say huge, it's not huge compared to what you guys got going on, but they've got a huge breakout down there where they had to close 2 hospitals because 5,000 people got infected down there because they had some people there that kind of lied about who they'd been in contact with. And then, you know, workers got it and then they went to work and they didn't know they had it. And this is the thing I think about this virus is people can be asymptomatic. So, you know, they're going and they're working at hospitals or they're working with aged care homes and they've got it and they don't know that they've got it. So therefore, oh, look, we are.
There's the big country right there.
That's, yeah, like, you know, have a look at the size of it. So, yeah, like most of us
well,
live
actually, you want to know size-wise, you're almost comparable size-wise to the United States.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we've got a lot less people over here. And I think also, too, the governments moved pretty quickly over here. And by governments, I mean not just federal, but all the state governments. The premiers, they moved pretty quickly over here to do social distancing pretty much straight up. So in New South Wales, Gladys Berejiklian, who is the Premier of New South Wales, so she's like the head Queen Pooper, she moved pretty quickly to do whole social distancing and shut stuff down. And I think that's what's helped contain it too. And otherwise, and also too, our biggest spread from over here has come from the Ruby Princess, which is a cruise ship that was allowed to dock in Sydney. And that was New South Wales Health. They're doing a criminal investigation into that at the moment because apparently New South Wales Health knew that there were people on that boat. They had something like 100 people with upper respiratory problems on that ship. And they were waiting for people, like 15 cases to be tested for COVID-19. And they let the passengers disembark as long as they went home and did 2 weeks quarantine before they actually got the results for the cases back. So everybody disembarked, flew back to their relative states, etc., right? And then that's where most of the spread has actually come from, has been people flying interstate, had the COVID-19, didn't know, got sick, spread it to somebody else, and then there you go, you got a bushfire.
Yeah.
So they're doing criminal investigations because I think it's a guy actually from Toowoomba, like where I'm from. So his dad, I think, passed away and then he got it. And he's now looking at suing the New South Wales government because his dad died and then he got it. and they knew that people on there were being tested for it, and they let everybody disembark except for the crew. So it's still docked down there because, then they're testing the crew to see whether they've got it or not. And most of the crew come from Manila. And so some of them are being treated within Australia and some of them are still on the actual boat itself. And it's just a bloody mess.
No, it is.
really.
And the same thing happened over here because Florida has coastlines on each side. So many ships are actually still sailing in the area trying to get here and dock. And they had several ships that docked in Miami area and West Palm Beach area. They weren't going to let them because nobody would let them. They started in Panama and they started everywhere in South America. They wouldn't let them. So then they finally came here because there were Floridians on there. So it's just absolutely crazy what's going on. It's just, I think the ship should be allowed to go wherever the hell it needs to go and just take the steps that are measurable to protect the people and your first responders and get the goddamn people help. Why is everybody pulling on this ship? Give them help.
Yeah.
I would want to be on that ship and nobody's allowed, wouldn't take us in.
I mean, would you honestly, talking about cruising, like there are people that just love cruising. They're addicted to it. Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking forward and like you're thinking ahead now to about like, how is this world going to look like, when we do start getting back to normalcy? And
I don't know.
Think about cruising. Like, would you go on a cruise?
Well, I just canceled the one that I have in July.
Did you?
I'm not going on that. Now, I have some family issues that the reason I had to actually cancel it, not because of the coronavirus, but family issues. Yeah. But still, in the future, there was no way I would intend to go on a cruise in 2020. There's just no way.
No. I don't think that I would. I personally would not go on a cruise myself until if or whatever we've got a vaccine for this virus. Because you have a look at all of the situations around the world, like, Japan, all of these massive breakouts. It's like, I don't know, cruise ships are like an infection pit almost, right? And I just read this morning when I woke up at 4:30 to prepare myself for R.S.V.P show that Singapore are considering putting people that normally live in dormitories over there, like which are workers that live in dormitories, have become like these infested pits. They're actually considering putting people from there onto ships because the dormitories they're living in are infected with COVID-19. And I'm going, oh my God, how would you feel if you were one of those people like going, yeah, you know what, where you're living and you're staying, that's an infested pit, but don't worry, love, because we're just going to whack you on the cruise ship over here and we'll put you all in there, all knowing what's happened from cruise ships around the world and how bad it gets. How would you feel about that? I'd run screaming in the opposite direction.
I wouldn't like it at all. The one good thing about it is, have you ever been on a cruise?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. You have your little cabin, right? You got your little cabin. And if you stay in the little cabin, then you should be, be all right. And so in one essence, I was thinking they should all be using the ships as hospitals and extra facilities for hospitalizations for people with the COVID. If it was going to resurge or get real bad, it would be an excellent place to put people in their cabins and keep them shut and just stay there and recuperate in the room as an extension of the hospitals.
Yeah, I agree with that. As long as, like, I don't know about you, but with the cruise that I went on, I was in a cabin with 6 people.
Well, we can't have that now.
No,
we can't have that.
So
this ain't a party room now. This is for COVID. You go in there if you and your partner or whoever you travel with, they got it too. Otherwise, you got to be in there by yourself, right?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, this is.
Oh my God! Imagine that though. Imagine that would drive me insane. It'd drive me right up the wall.
I know. I'm already going up the wall, and I'm in my house.
Yeah, I know. Imagine that. Imagine like being locked in.
I honestly can't.
I'd love to hear from somebody who's actually had that experience, though.
Somebody on the cruise ship.
Yeah, on the cruise ship. Who actually,
one of the ships that nobody would allow them to dock. And they were
Yeah,
stuck on the
yeah.
ship with all the people that were diagnosed with the COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and what that experience was like, and like, and
Well-
how's their mental health?
Well, listen, if anybody out there that's listening was a passenger on a cruise ship that wasn't allowed to dock until at some point later on, and you were stuck on this ship with passengers that were diagnosed, and you were quarantined to your rooms or whatever, we would love to hear from you. And you could just reach out to us, send us an email to talk at rsvppodcast.com. Okay, send us an email. We would love to talk to you. You don't even have to give us your name. We just want to hear about the experience. If that's what you'd like, we're here to protect your identity. We just want to know about the experiences. So reach out to us, or if you know of a family member or good friend that was in that situation, please email us. We'd like to put that on a future show, and we'd like to find out about that.
Yeah. And I would love to talk to or hear from anybody around the world in all these different countries about what your actual life experience has been like with living with COVID-19 and living with socialization and living with like not, being with your family and not seeing your family, not, losing your businesses, not having work, and there's going to be positive stories out there too, like I know of people that have really enjoyed the time where they've been in social isolation because it's allowed them, like metaphorically speaking, to stop and reevaluate like themselves and their life and what they're doing and where they're heading and where they want to go and make some real changes to themselves in their life too. So I'm sure, and I know that's not all doom and gloom, but how cool would it be, like, for instance, to talk to somebody from Italy? Like, I'd love to talk to someone from Italy and go, okay, so like, what's it like for you over there? What's it been like for you if you're living in Singapore or like in Hong Kong or, anywhere in the United States as well? Like, what's it been like?
There are a bunch of freaking idiots over here. Okay. Americans are a bunch of freaking idiots. We're all a bunch of idiots. Okay. Because we're so used to being free and doing whatever the hell we want. Okay. So today is Friday. Monday, this previous Monday, my county put out a curfew law that nobody was allowed out of their residence from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. By the next morning, they were already protesting, out in the streets, in the cars, sending thousands of emails and calls to the county commissioners and everybody. The poor guy in charge was in tears, for God's sakes, almost. And they rescinded the freaking law 2 days later. 2 days. 2.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, Americans are nutcases, okay? God forbid we can do any. Where are they going between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. that they've got to worry about? Where are they going?
Oh, you know what? It's that whole it's the freedom of like your freedom of choice and your restriction, right? Like Sean and I were just talking about this the other day.
No restrictions on my freedom. That's what they're crying about.
Yeah,
have you seen it on TV in Michigan? The major freaking thing that they all got in cars and caused the most major congestion with cars and people, and there was so many people gathered. They probably all gave each other the goddamn virus, but they were doing that because the governor of that state put in some restrictions and curfews. They were freaking out over that. They probably gave each other the goddamn virus. God forbid they should be a little bit uncomfortable. A little bit. Okay?
I know. And I get that. Like, I do. I get it, right? But I think, too, there's just so many mixed messages coming from the top down. Like, over here, it blows my mind, right? So schools remain open.
Your schools are open?
So schools remain open in Australia.
Holy
right?
shit.
So currently we're on school holidays, right? In New South Wales and Queensland. Victoria are back. So what this means is, so the message is schools remain open so that if essential workers, like, people that are working in grocery stores or anybody that's got to go to work or still going to work can't homeschool their kids, or got no one to look after them, so those kids can go to school, right?
We dump them off at the school.
But the message is to parents, but we highly recommend that you keep your kids at home.
But they're not. Tell me, they're not.
Well, no, they are, but they are.
They are?
So people are keeping their kids at home. Like,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
All right. So the majority of kids are staying home?
Yeah, the majority of kids are staying home, right?
Okay,
but
that would never happen here.
Schools open.
That would never happen here.
What do you mean it would never happen there? What?
Parents would send their kids because these parents, they're all working. They got to dump their kids off for somebody else to watch their kids. Okay, yep. So they could go work. And even though they're not working, the people that are not working now, they don't want their freaking kids. They don't want to watch them. They want someone else to watch them and raise them. Okay. They only put up with them for 3 hours a day. That's it. Maximum.
You know what? I think it's the same over here, I'm sure. Like, but the kids are friggin' loving it. Like, they're going like, oh yeah, woohoo. Like, they're thinking like, yeah, they've got all these extended holidays. But what they don't realize is that they still got to do online learning. So they still got to do classes and all that kind of stuff. And they still got to check in, and they still got teachers like up their bloody ass and emailing parents saying, your kid was absent from school today, right? Because, they didn't check into class. So I guess what I'm saying though is that we've got these mixed messages. So schools remain open, but don't send your kids unless you find that it's necessary that you do it. So the majority of parents are not doing it. So the schools are virtually empty, but teachers still have to rock up on skeleton staff and then go to work. And we'll close some beaches, but not other beaches. And we'll close some borders, but not other borders. And we'll close beauty salons, but we'll keep hairdressing salons open. Talking about rescinding stuff, right? So you're not, over in Australia, you got to keep 1.5 meters. You go and work that out in your feet.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that means. Wait, how many meters?
How many? 1.5 meters.
So you got to keep meters. It should be. I mean, we're supposed to be 6 feet away, so maybe
should be
that's about
same.
comparable.
Yeah. So 1.5 meters away, right? So you tell me, if I was going to do your hair dye, how can I keep 1.5 meters away from you?
Well, as soon as they figure out what the fuck 1.5 meters is, 4 feet. Yeah. That's all you guys got to worry about is 4 feet.
4 feet, right?
Jesus, you can't do my hair from 4 feet away. No,
that's right, exactly right. So hairdressing salons remain open already, but
we can't cut your hair.
You got to have your 1.5 meter, 4 meter, like whatever, right?
All right, that's ridiculous.
And then they brought in a thing saying you could only have a person in your chair and you have to get them in and out in 30 minutes, right?
Okay.
So there was all of these things going around, like, with like people that had like half their hair cut and not the other half, and half their hair color and not the other half.
Well, obviously none of those people worked in salons.
Yeah.
They worked at McDonald's. That's it. Get those hamburgers in and out. They don't know how to work with people with hair, friggin' wash them and blow dry them and cut and color.
That thing got rescinded overnight as well. So it came in, right? And then it was in for 24 hours, and everybody's going like, that's just absolutely bloody ridiculous, because that means that you can't do a color or a cut, or people are going to have to put colors on and then they're going to have to go home and rinse them off themselves. So that got rescinded within 24 hours. But hairdressing salons can still remain open, but you have to practice social distancing.
It's ridiculous.
But how can you do that?
You can't. And I'm glad to know the whole world is as fucked up as we are. The whole world is fucked up. I just have a feeling that Japan is doing a good job. And I think some of those other Asian countries, not China, fuck China, okay? Not China. But the other countries like Japan, Thailand, I think a lot of those Asian countries, those people are just so wonderful. Their cultures, and they listen, and they're probably all home. Okay. My nephew was over there in Japan.
Yeah, because they're not going to be out protesting in the streets like us.
Oh, they're so good and wonderful, beautiful people. And my nephew was over there in Japan, and he's telling me how everybody was staying home, and they have started easing up some of the restrictions over there, but everybody follows the rules.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to spread it. They don't want to get sick. They don't want to bring it home to their family. They don't want to give it to another family. Not in the rest of the world.
No.
We're all a bunch of freaking jackasses.
Yeah, well, that's because they're so respectful, and all we're busy about doing is like going like, yeah, fuck this. I don't want to be following any rules. Like, I'll make up my own rules. I mean, that's kind of like, the two-edged sword of democracy in some ways, right?
Yeah. Well, I could see this friggin' virus resurging, okay, next year for sure. I just can't see that
Oh,
these people are going to really follow all the rules, okay? And just like SARS resurfaced, if we don't have a vaccine, it's going to next year. So this is going to be a long ass haul, Bernie.
yeah, I know. I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, if people are not sort of like thinking forward and looking forward like that, then honestly, you got like, two brains to rub together. Like honestly, because if you're not thinking like that, then you're just being delusional, really, because we're all going to have to learn how to live with it. And it means that we're going to have to make sacrifices.
I mean, Jesus,
I don't like the fact that I can't go to the local pub and have like, a meal with Sean. That was our thing. That was our thing. That's what we would do. Like, we'd go to the Ucky pub, we call it, up the road, which is actually called Yukai. 15 minutes up the road, you'd drive there, you'd have like, lunch and, you have a few wines and a couple of schooners, we call them, right?
What is that? It's like a beer?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's a beer. Well, it's the size of the beer. It's called a schooner. That's the size of it, right? And you'd have a couple of schooners, have a couple of drinks, and then you drive home. So, like for Sean and I, it's kind of like that was our social outing, and that's what we did. So how do you try and recreate that, where you still feel like you're doing something social, but you're not really going outside your front bloody gate, really, frankly. So, one of the things that Sean and I did is like we decided that we would create our own amphitheater, so our own theater. So I'm actually sitting in it, right? So you'll see those chairs behind me there. They fold back. Yeah, and we put all blinds around here and bought like the TV over from the house, right? And so what we do is have chips and popcorn and wine together, lay back in our chairs, put all the blinds down, could be in the middle of the day, and take ourselves off to the movies.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all.
Great.
You just got to be innovative.
It's like going gold class to the cinemas over here. Like, I don't know. Do you have that over there? Like, where you can go to the cinemas and like, they bring you wine and they bring you food.
Yes, we do have those. Yes.
Yeah. Well, over here it's called like gold class. So Sean and I sit in those chairs and laugh and go like, you know what? We're not going gold class. We're going platinum, man. We're going platinum.
Well, listen, we're almost at the end of our first show. Do you believe it? We're almost at the end. I feel like we could talk all day. Yeah, well, we both know that we can talk all day. That's our problem. That's why they give us limits on time. That's why we started the show in the first place. Yeah, it's why we started it in the first place. So what is your takeaway from our talk today? Give me 30 seconds. What's your takeaway? I reckon the takeaway is that everybody's kind of floundering through this together, and that everybody's probably doing the same kind of thing. Like, so I think everyone's trying to do the best that they possibly can, but I think we can definitely do better. And I think that we need to hold accountable the governments to some of these decisions that they're making. I understand why they're making them, but I don't think, like you said, that they have thought them through enough. And I don't know, and also probably not enough friggin' consultation with business people and people that are in work and stuff like that, finding out. I don't understand why we can have some things open and some things closed. Like, I don't understand how you guys are going to open up restaurants and have 10 people in there, and who's going to police that? Well, we'll find out. They have numbers now where you could snitch on your neighbors and snitch on the businesses. So they're counting on the people to do that. It's like, that takes me back to like Nazi Germany. I know. All right. So what I'm going to do now for our next week's topic, I've got a few cards here, numbered 1 through 5. Yeah. All right, Bern. And you're going to tell me which card you'd like, and I will reveal which letter is behind that number, and that's what we're going to talk about next week. Okay. So, and if we go on P again, can we like redraw? Sure.
Okay, number 5.
Number 5.
5.
Number 5. And it is V.
What is it?
V as in violence.
V as in violence.
So
well, that's going to be an interesting topic. That's going to be an interesting topic, isn't it?
That's a hell of an interesting topic. So, for all of you out there that might be listening to our show, if you're listening
or not,
send us something you'd like, a question you'd like us to bring up or talk about, and please just send us an email to talk@rsvppodcast.com, and we will be certain to highlight that during the show. Otherwise, if nobody's freaking listening, we'll come up with some shit by ourselves, right, Bird?
Absolutely. And just so you know, so that's R for religion, S for sex, V for violence, and P for politics. And we're going to have some wild card. But, you know, the R.S.V.P too can stand for anything, because I wouldn't mind bringing up some stuff about racism as well, talking about some racial issues.
Hey, we can talk about a lot of good stuff. So here's to next week, darling. It was a great show.
You too,
darling. Beautiful.
Cheers.
Cheers, my love.
Cheers.
Welcome to R.S.V.P. Listen to the show at your own risk. We will be discussing all taboo subjects like religion, sex, violence, and even politics. You should be ready for controversy, disagreements, face-offs, and maybe some downright rumbles. Well, sit tight and get ready for this week's episode. And by the way, if you're squeamish about obscenities, don't listen to our fucking show!